Learning and development in organisations is in a state of rapid change, or it should be. So what is holding it back? Paul Matthews has the answers.
It's about the invisible problems. And by that I mean it's the problems that are there. It's kind of like the elephants in the room. They're there, people are often at least peripherally aware that there's something there, but because of the day-to-day don't really get to focus on them in the way that they should. So much of my time is spent helping people shift their mindset from what they're currently focusing on to something that's more effective to focus on. One brief I was given quite recently was a large retail chain, and the head of learning and development just wanted me to spend a day with his team to just, in his words, help change their thinking, please, because they're not modern in terms of their thinking about L&D. So that's something that I will do, is those kind of unplugged sessions where I'll just work with a team in a fairly ad hoc fashion.
Paul Matthews joins me in the studio. He is founder and MD of People Alchemy.
We focus on informal learning and learning transfer in the service of performance in a business. Now, I know not all of you in the room are managers, but you wouldn't be here without a level of responsibility in the organisation, so I will talk to you as though you are all managers.
I was instantly struck with the ease in which he was able to communicate some of the more complex areas of learning and development.
You can do a leadership program that's going to create leaders in your organisation that are as good as Gandhi or Mandela. You go for it, and you can leave the broken glass on the floor if you want, and it'll work. But that's not easy, and again, it's not cheap. So sweep up the broken glass.
E is ends, M is means, W is ways. What the ends, means and ways. The end is your vision, your organisational end point. The means is your strategy. What game are we going to play? How are we going to win it? And the ways are the activities and behaviours we're going to need to put in place in order to operationalise that strategy. And that's your policy. So we've got the three elephants, which is, and the first one I tend to categorise as performance diagnostics. We have to make sure that we are diagnosing the causes of poor performance well. The second one is we have to be thinking about the learning that's happening out there in the organisation, not just the stuff that's happening formally in a classroom. And the third one is if we do, through a performance diagnostics process, have proven that we have to have people in a classroom or in a learning intervention, that we then make sure we're doing appropriate learning transfer to make it have an impact. And if you deal with those three elephants, then the fourth sneaky elephant won't leap out of the bushes and squash you. And the fourth one I talk about is the brand of learning and development. So if we start thinking about how brand affects L&D, it's the same way that a brand affects any kind of business out there. In that if the brand doesn't give people a sense of who you are and what you do, they're going to be limited in what they're actually going to come and ask you.
His content is excellent. It's based on his research. It's based on a lot of deep thought. And therefore what he shares is not only valuable, but extremely useful, practical, helpful, helps people get on with building better learning and building better learning and development.
Competence is different to capability. What's interesting is that those two words are often used interchangeably. Capability's gotten messed up with this dismissal thing that the HR people use around capability. There's all sorts of different meanings out there for it. I was in a boardroom once, big company, and they were talking about capability. The word was being used, and eventually I had to say, listen, hey, time out, guys, time out. There's an elephant in the room, nobody even knows it's there, let alone ignoring it. And I gave them that story about the mechanic, and they went, oh, shit. Informal learning to me is the learning that happens unscheduled, unsupervised, not planned.
Right.
And actually I sometimes refer to it as a side effect of life. It's the stuff that you learn just as you're going through life.
So just think about the change, think about what has to happen, think about where you're going from here, how can you contribute most to all of that. Great. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what the team is doing.